Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's not Wednesday night. It is now Thursday night, but you knew it was coming. It's episode number 98 of Material Issues. I'm Mark Hershberger of Pop Detective Records. It's a great day here in South Jersey. Joining me, as usual, my very good friend. He's from the West Coast. He's in the LA area. He's the president of the International Pop Overthrow Festival with a lot of cool things coming up in the very near future. It's David Bash. David, good evening. How you doing, my friend? Happy
Good
Passover.
evening, Mark. Great
Yeah.
to see you again as usual, and I appreciate you being willing to move material issues to Thursday on account of Passover, first night of Passover being yesterday,
Yes, very
and
nice.
I have my dad here who's 92, and we're having a good time, and he needs a bit of attention, but now he's outside watching. He's in the living room watching TV,
Right.
and yeah, we had a good time. We actually did a Zoom Passover Seder with Rena's mom and her family back in North Carolina.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah,
Technology.
it's really incredible. Although my voice, the voices from this end, mine and Rena's, kept feeding back,
Mm.
and we couldn't figure out why. And then Rena's brother-in-law joined in, and his voice was feeding back as well. So was probably something on their end, but
Mm.
it got really annoying. And after about 30 minutes, I had to sign off because no one could really. I mean, yeah, just having the voices feed back at you was
Yeah, it's bothersome. It's
yeah.
tough to concentrate and partake in that kind of thing.
It
But
was, but 30 minutes was it was. I'm not going to say it was the best 30 minutes of my life, but 30, he said. You mean
it,
five, don't
it
you?
ranks right up there with some of the best 2 minutes of your life, right?
Yeah, no doubt. Um,
Yeah. No, I wanted to show you just on air here. This is
oh wow,
my t-shirt, my new "Help Me Rhonda" t-shirt.
your
On
Murray
air,
Wilson T-shirt.
it kind of looks like just "Help Me," but
So it could be a good Joni Mitchell T-shirt.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
no, that's very cool. And today, because I am now a not a charter member, but I'm a member in good standing of the Putting on the Foil. Hey Gary,
Gary putting on the foil.
the Putting on the Foil page on Facebook in dedication to the awesome movie Slapshot, and this is my Charlestown Chiefs jersey with number 7 on the back from Red
Hmm.
Dunlop. I mean, I'm much more of a Ned Braden type, but I wanted to be the coach. So there, I got I
it's a
got the
it's a
captain slash coach C on this one.
it's a great
And
jersey, man.
God, I love that movie so much.
That's a
And
great movie.
the people on the page are obviously fanatics like I of the movie, like I am, and we're constantly quoting lines. Like the administrator will put up a picture from the movie that's captioned, and
Yeah.
people will respond with ancillary lines, other lines that the character said or was said about them, and it's really funny. I don't remember if we spoke about this. Did we speak about this last week or a couple of weeks ago about TV versions of movies?
Yes, yes. Well, we were talking about um, what's the word I'm looking for? They're done differently for TV,
Yeah,
not
not
dubbed,
dubbed, not dubbed.
but done differently. Yeah.
Not dubbed or edited in any weird way, but actually done for TV because I guess they assumed the movie would be a success. Good
Andy,
evening, Andy. Hope things are well in the UK. Um, yeah, so why am I getting texted here? Don't you know it's material issues?
no.
Apparently they don't. Um, anyway, what was I going to say?
Well, the movie's being not being
Yeah,
dubbed.
so the studios knew these movies were going to be big hits, and they knew that they would be aired on television. They didn't. I guess they really didn't want to be embarrassed by a dubbed or edited version. So they knew, of course, which lines were going to be cut or messed with. So they did an actual TV version.
Yeah.
and Slapshot is one of them. And there's that great scene where Reg Dunlop, the coach of the Chiefs, puts a bounty on the head of the guy named McCracken, on member of the team that are about to play, because he's kind of a goon, and they just want to take care of him. McCracken finds out about the bounty because Reg, in an interview before the game, talks about it. And when Dunlop and McCracken encounter each other, McCracken says to Dunlop, you suck cock. And, Dunlop is a pretty cheeky guy, so he smiles and says, all I can get. And that angers McCracken even more. So, of course, that's not going to fly on television. So on the TV version, McCracken says, Dunlop, call the meat wagon. And Dunlop says, already did. Like he called it from McCracken. I just love stuff like that. And of course, the most famous line in the Animal House TV version, the scene where what's his name, Bluto Belushi, just encounters the dead horse in Dean Wormer's office, and he says, "Holy shit!" 3 times in a row. The TV version is, "Oh my God, I don't believe it," which I just love. And speaking of Animal House, I just got in the mail today something that every Animal House freak needs.
Oh, is this the national? Yeah, I have that. Yeah.
You have the book.
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah, very well illustrated. But the best thing about the book is it's in story form, the actual original script.
Yeah.
I don't know. The movie probably would have been about 4 hours long if they stuck to the script. But there are a few characters in here that were not mentioned or even were not shown in the movie that aired.
Right.
One of which is Hardbar, which
I
played by Chris Miller, one of the writers of Animal House. The only time you see him in the movie is when they're at the parade, and he's standing in front of a guy and a son, and guy taps him on the shoulder and says, "Excuse me, my kid can't see. Would you move?" And he says, "No." And they don't even name him or anything. But in the script, he's Hardbar. Why is he Hardbar? Well, because his bar is always hard for masturbating. Yes. So Hardbar actually has a few scenes in here, and he's referred to in here by name quite a bit.
I remember. I haven't read that in a long time, but man,
there's a lot of amazing stuff. I mean, the characters' lines are expanded.
Well, it must be Joel. You're welcome, my friend.
Hey, Joel. Joel, my brother.
Yeah.
Although it could be a lot of people because you're doing favors for.
Well, it could be. I'm just going with the most recent thing.
But yeah, just so everybody knows, my brother Joel is a huge memorabilia collector. His collection is insane and very, very impressive. I really want him to be a guest on the shows so he can talk about this, because it's got to be one of the best collections in the world, really. Mostly figures, but also animation cells and other paraphernalia from TV shows and movies. And there was an item. Yeah, there was an item that he really wanted from Pottstown, Pennsylvania, which is near where Mark lives. The guy wouldn't ship. You had to either come over and get it, basically.
Yeah.
But it was such a great item and such a good deal, according to Joel.
There were three items. It was three
items. But they were actually animation cells.
But all framed, big.
Were they actually framed?
Framed and everything, yeah.
These were $25 each, and they generally go for a lot more money than that on eBay. So
the guy told me that right after he agreed to the deal with Joel, some lady texted him and kept upping her ante, and she upped it to $500, and he said, "Sorry, I already made a deal." And
wow, that's a lot of it. That is amazing integrity.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Pottstown, PA, birthplace of cable TV.
Is that right? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that must be John Borak because cable is his bailiwick. So
Yeah, they
and
were really nice. They were really nice pieces. But as I said, all framed. They were huge pieces. No wonder he didn't want to ship them. They were big.
well, it was very nice of you to drive an hour to Pottstown to pick them up for Joel and to
Hey, I
ship them
stopped
to
at a
him.
place called Hilltop Hamburgers out in the middle of nowhere, and I said I'm going to go in there and order a hamburger, and I
Was
did.
it worth it?
It was a good hamburger,
Oh
and it
wow!
was. You know how like the TV show Alice, where everybody knew Alice and Flo, and who was the third one? I forget the
Oh,
waitress.
Vera.
Vera. That's what the waitresses there were like.
Oh
And,
really?
and the owner of the place had to be, she must have been 70 years old and just like maybe a 2-pack a day habit. And she was like, "Hey, how you doing? Good to see you."
So I was gonna say she was nothing like Vic Tayback as Mel, but apparently she was.
She was kind of like Vic Tayback, but if it was Victoria Tayback.
Vic
Yeah.
Tayback with tits, to paraphrase a line from Ball 4 about Joe Torre.
But it was
So
great. I had a Hilltop hamburger. It was a lot of fun. I mean, little places like that out in the middle of nowhere where you just see it and it says Hilltop, you have to stop, and just be part of it. So it was a nice
oh
day,
man,
fun day for a drive, and I was blasting the music, and I want to talk about that in a little bit about blasting the music. Something
yes,
something to bring up in a second. But you're getting back to what you're talking about as far as the funny movies. And do you watch Saturday Night Live at all?
I haven't for years and years.
I catch it every once in a while, but mostly I'll see a clip on YouTube from like the previous weeks, and there was a clip of a skit. And I don't know the cast members' names. I don't really know them that well, but the guy and the daughter are in his car, and a black woman's in her car in traffic, and evidently the black woman had cut them off. So you know how you look at somebody through your window that's already rolled up, and you go like, and
Yeah,
you just make.
haven't done the
Well,
screwball thing for a while.
that's the whole premise of this. Neither one of them roll their windows down, but he looks at the black woman and he's like, "You," but you hear him mouth it, "Drive, create, you cut." And they go back and forth, and it's really one of the best scenes I have seen on SNL in a long time. And as they're insulting each other with these hand movements, the daughter, the woman looks at his daughter, and she says, "You are a bitch, a bitch," and "Don't call my daughter a bitch." And then the daughter looks at her and goes, "You suck, you."
Oh wow!
And the guy, the dad's like, "Don't do that." And I'm a little bit bothered that you're using two hands. And it was just so funny and so well done, because a lot of the SNL stuff for the last couple of years I haven't liked at all, and I just think the writing has gotten terrible. But that skit, if you haven't seen it, go on YouTube and look for that car skit. That was really well done.
Is Kate McKinnon still on?
No, she left.
Oh, she was awesome. I
Yeah,
missed
she
her.
was fantastic. Yeah, you have to look at
I
this
mean,
first
I've seen a few YouTube clips of her doing impressions, and
This one is so
amazing.
classic, and the ending is hilarious. It's just it comes out of nowhere, and it's just the funniest thing. I highly recommend you watching that clip. It'll kill you. It's so funny, so funny. Really well done.
I will. Now that you mention it,
But
trying to think if I have anything. Not really anything new IPO wise. We're on schedule. We've got Chicago in 2 weeks from tomorrow, so it's really getting close. And of course, we have Liverpool from May 28th through June 4th, and then Copenhagen, and then LA, San Diego, Vancouver, Arlington, New York, Boston, and Hamilton are what we have on the agenda for the rest of the year. We may add Phoenix. We usually do Phoenix in March, but due to a few miscommunications, that didn't happen. So maybe we'll end up doing it later in the year. Probably want to wait until it gets a little bit cooler, because during the summer it's insanely hot.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll figure it all out. Oh, got a new watch.
Mm.
Um,
It's not Watch Wednesday. It's New Watch Thursday.
Yep. This is I already bought a watch from this company. It's Henry
Archer.
Archer from
Yeah.
Denmark. I have my really nice purple watch that I got from there. This is a very simple chronograph, but it's very classy and it was not very expensive.
Yeah.
And it's got the mecha quartz movement, which I like. So you can see it's actually ticking, while the quartz watches generally just move one at a time.
Yeah.
In very discrete. So I like the mecha quartz. It gives you the accuracy of quartz, but the simulation of automatic. And I'm going to wear this to Copenhagen, of course,
Yeah. Sure.
as I will the other one. Oh, busy rehearsing the Liverpool set. So that's great, Andy. We can't wait for Searching for Sylvia, Andy's band.
Nice.
They're always excellent. I keep thinking there was some other significant thing I wanted to talk about, but it'll either come to me or it won't. So
It comes to you, pop up. I haven't actually opened it yet because I kind of know what it's all about, but I want to just add it to collection. But the new music box.
Where did you get that? I'm trying to find it actually.
I got that from, I think, directly from Lemon Recordings in the UK.
Okay.
And it's got From A to B, Anywhere, Warp, and then a disc of remixes and demos.
Which I guess the last new music box didn't, and I'm going to see if I can find it easily here, which of course I can't because everything is sort of out of in a weird order.
Yeah.
Where's
new music? If you don't know them, they're a great 80s. I'm going to say, synth pop is the best way to describe them.
Kind of synth power pop.
It's kind of synth power pop. Yeah. I mean, they've got great harmonies. It's just really catchy stuff. Now, when it got to the third album, Warp, it went a little bit.
Warp was a little bit more straight synth pop with a few little experimental touches.
But I'll tell you what, I talk about every once in a while. I talk about albums or groups, but is it power pop? Someone asked. Probably, wouldn't call it power pop. No, I wouldn't. I would call it more like synth pop with an edge. But
that's fair enough.
But you know what? I talk about certain bands that I go back to if I'm in a mood and I want to feel better about life in general. And one of the bands that just does it for me, for whatever reason, is new music. If I listen to Straight Lines or Living by Numbers or Sanctuary or any those songs, and for whatever reason, they just stuck in my head right from the first time I heard it. It's just one of my favorites.
Shout out to Chipper McKiernan, DJ at Maximus, a club in New City, New York, where I lived through my teen years and early 20s. He's the one who turned me on to new music. He got a copy of Straight Lines and would play it pretty much every night that he worked, and it really got the crowd dancing. For me, it was one of the best driving songs. Everyone talks about Born to Be Wild as an amazing driving song, and if you're a biker, I'm sure is the anthem.
Oh, somebody wants to know your favorite Sire label.
Well, that's easy. The Beckies. That's my second favorite album of all time.
Wow.
Beyond that, I'd have to think about that. I don't. Well, here's another one that I know that's probably my second favorite. Love's Melodies by the Searchers.
Oh yeah.
And I have to say, the Searchers are probably how do I want to phrase this? The greatest band whose comeback was even better than their heyday. I mean, I really love the 60s Searchers stuff. Yes, it still is.
It's still bad, but the postage is not. I'm finding the postage is not bad for like CDs, 1 or 2 CDs. If you're getting vinyl, that is astronomical. The packaging just being bigger, and but that's where it really gets expensive. I buy this T-shirt. Help Me, Rhonda. This came from the UK. And I usually get 4 or 5 T-shirts from this company at one time. Shipping's not that bad.
And not only is postage expensive, in general from the UK, but I've had two bands send me CDs from there, and I had about 2 months ago, and I haven't received them yet. I actually went out and bought copies. I bought one of the two, and I didn't get it, and the guy whose band it was actually refunded my money because I went out and bought another. I figured I'd give Rena the extra copies if they ever show up, but so far they haven't. So I have a little bit of hesitancy to order stuff from the UK now, but I will. If it's through Amazon, you'll get it. I order a lot of stuff through Amazon UK.
Amazon UK,
yeah. Because it'll still get here before it ever shows up in the stores here. But anyway, back to the original question from Leather King.
Hello, Leather King.
Hello, Leather King.
But last week we talked about certain things that take you back, and I described one song that always did it with the smell of the gee, your hair smells terrific shampoo.
Yeah.
And funny enough, a fan of Material Issues actually sent me this 70s party classics.
My God, that person must be the most magnanimous person in the world.
I mentioned Sometimes When We Touch by Dan Hill. What was a song that is, I can close my eyes and smell my high school girlfriend's shampoo, which was gee, your hair smells terrific. And this fan sent me this CD, and they said, dear Mark, you said you didn't have this, and I was grateful. I said, this includes my favorite song of all time, You're Having My Baby by Paul Anka.
All right.
Now we'll let cat out of the bag. David ordered this from Philadelphia, which is right over the bridge on Discogs for me, and I do appreciate it because I did not have a copy of something.
Well, it was my pleasure, and actually because I pulled out the Pat Downey book of top 40 music on CD. I saw all the different compilations that had Sometimes When We Touch, but I figure if I'm going to do this, it has to be the most hilarious one. And by the way, just for the record, and I don't believe in guilty pleasures because I don't think you should feel guilty about any music you like. No. But, You're Having My Baby would have to be in the guilty pleasure category. I always like the song. What can I tell you?
You know what?
I like a few of Paul Anka's 70s songs.
I commented before. I think it could possibly be one of the worst hits of all time. It's just the way I feel about it.
Most people.
I mean,
some of the songs dislike it, and that's okay.
Some of the songs on here all kind of could be in that like Muskrat Love, Captain and Tennille. Also an awful song, but was huge.
What did you think of America's version? Because they're the ones who wrote it and did it.
Yeah, America's version.
I love Jerry Beckley's voice. So whatever.
Anybody you can use the word muskrat in the title of a song and talk about Muskrat Love. Have you heard Dan Hill, Divinals medley? Sometimes, yes. Sometimes When I Touch Myself. Why that wasn't a huge hit, I don't know.
Could you imagine? Well, actually, somebody did do a parody of Muskrat Love, and they called it Hamster Love.
Yeah, Hamster Love.
I don't remember if they changed all the lyrics, but I think they did.
I think I do love this comment. We probably know who that is, but what a great idea. Let's start combining two artists and the song titles and see who can come up with the best one in future episodes. I really love Sometimes When I Touch Myself. You know what? Give us just the title and let's try to figure out who the two artists are. How's that? So like if you told us Sometimes When I Touch Myself, we'd have to say Dan Hill and the Divinals.
That one we'd probably be able to figure out, or would have been. But
that's awesome.
I'm trying to. Let's go back to new music for a bit. Now, I really, I have the earlier new music box, also done by Lemon, and I'm trying to remember if there's any reason to get this one. But I think that extra disc was not on the original box, if I recall.
I'm trying to remember. I have it.
Do you have it? I don't know where mine is. It's got.
I have it. I have it here. I have it here somewhere. Hold on. It's not back in the.
This is vital stuff, Mark. To paraphrase Ball 4 yet again.
Yeah. I'll have to. I might have it out
trying to remember what year it was. I'm gonna check my other room to see if maybe it was a 2018.
I'm looking for it. Sit around here somewhere, but look at us live here in Material Issues as David and I rip through all the CDs to our left and to our right, trying to find out if something is actually. Well, while David's looking around, I also got this pin, like this shirt here. Like I said, help me, Rhonda. Great shirt,
it's not.
Mr. And here's a little button that says the Apple Boutique on it. That's kind of cool. They sent that along with the T-shirt.
Oh, okay. This is
Neat.
driving me crazy because I know it's not that old. And
You're having my. Oh yeah, I like it, Paul. Okay, without looking at the screen, David, you're having my baby one more time.
Well, I would assume that's Paul Anka and Captain and Tennille.
No, it's Paul Anka and Britney Spears. You're having my baby kiss me one more time.
Paul Anka and do that to me one more time.
Hit me, baby. I love it.
Oh,
that's kind of funny. I'm just having a good time with that.
Oh boy.
Okay. I'd have to spend some time looking for where my.
This is so weird.
My original box of that is.
I know I have it, and I need to. Well, I could look it up, of course, but I want to find out if this one is worth getting. If it has anything different than it is.
Yeah, well, I wish I had it in front of me here, but
I didn't so weird. All right, well, another time.
Somebody done somebody's baby.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess that's B.J. Thomas and Jackson Brown.
Yes, yeah. I think you got that right. Somebody done somebody's baby.
That is good.
That is good. I love it. That's a new game we're gonna have to play.
So yeah, all right. So you showed the new music box. Is there anything else that you wanted to show?
No. I just wanted to say thank you for the 70s Parties Classic.
Oh, my pleasure. What else is on that? I forgot.
Well, there's actually some good things on it. There's tie a yellow ribbon around the old oak tree, which cracks me up because Tony Orlando, there's a guy that comes into the restaurant every Saturday night, always requests me, and his name is Tony Orlando.
Well, that's funny. Okay.
Yeah. So The Night Chicago Died, Paper Lace.
That's a great song.
Great song. Billy, Don't Be a Hero, Bo Donaldson. Yeah.
Which is actually apropos that those two were together because Billy, Don't Be a Hero was a huge hit in the UK for Paper Lace.
Oh yeah.
Well before the Bo Donaldson version was a hit here.
Yeah.
And we never heard the Paper Lace version, but then we did hear The Night Chicago Died, and that was number one here as well. So
Daddy was a cop.
And by the way, there is no east side of Chicago. It's north and south. I mean, geographically, of course, there is. But anyway, go ahead.
We got Playground in My Mind, Clint Holmes.
That's a soul classic.
It is. Feelings, the Morris Albert version of Feelings.
Clint, that is a funky number.
Yeah.
That Playground in My Mind.
The Candyman, which I love, Sammy Davis Jr., but I didn't know it was with the Mike Curb Congregation.
Oh, that's who does the backgrounds on that?
That's what it says.
That makes sense. MGM. It makes sense.
Afternoon Delight, Starland Vocal Band. I love the track. I love the track. Torn Between Two Lovers.
Like I said on Facebook, is that a song about a botched double penetration?
An Escape, the Pina Colada
come up with that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Escape, the Pina Colada song, Rupert Holmes.
Yeah.
Is what it is. And then, of course, Muskrat Love. So
yeah. And you mentioned Feelings earlier, which is definitely one of my least favorite songs from any decade.
So, but I do appreciate it because now I have Sometimes When We Touch.
Yeah, and I made sure to get you the 45 version because I figured that's the one you heard.
Yeah.
Muskrat Love
Train. It's good.
Yeah, Captain Teal and the OJs have a lot in common. So,
Well, here's the other thing I wanted to bring up, and maybe it'll spark some other different direction of conversation here. But let's just say recently, but has there been a band that you all of a sudden discovered that has actually been around for a number of albums and has actually been, quite popular, whether it was here or in the UK or another country, and you just never had ever heard anything from them, and then you heard something and you were like, where the heck have I been?
I'm sure it has. It's just not coming to mind now. But yeah, that happens from time to time, especially if somebody posts a song by that group on Facebook, or I read about them in passing when I read about another band.
You know what? And sometimes, and I'll talk to people about it. I'll be like, you know what? I'm starting listening to blah. They'll be like, you've never heard them before? And like, no. Where the heck have you been? And I think to myself, why haven't I? I hear a lot of music. I get a lot of people talking, tired of waiting and towing the line. Yeah. I hear a lot of, wait a second, I got to get this in. Whole show where people only sang feeling. Yeah. The Gong Show.
I don't, actually.
I remember that. But no, and it's just, sometimes I run across an artist, and you probably know this band, but this happened to me yesterday. I guess I came in contact with this band called Delays.
Oh, the UK band from the early 2000s, right?
Greg Gilbert died of cancer, had 4 albums out. I had never, ever heard of this band. And
I like Delays. I can't say I love them, but maybe I need to listen to more.
Well, I heard this. I'm going to play this song right here. 1 sec. I'll just, because I can do it right here. But I heard this song, and then it led me to listening to all 4 albums within the last 2 days on my walks with Ches. And I just blown away that I never heard it. But here's this. You hear it?
Lower it a bit. Not that much. Or did it just drop and down?
Just very, very, very popium, Scandinavian sound kind of stuff that I like, although they're a UK band, or we're a UK band, and I just had never heard of them. And
I think it's easy for that to happen with bands from around the turn of the
yeah. But I'll tell you what, they had 3 top 30 albums, and they had a number of top 20 hits. I had no idea. And that's exciting to me too.
Last, but it's very exciting.
It's exciting to me because now I have 4 albums of stuff that I've been listening to, and now I got to go find these copies somewhere, and
they must be around.
They got to be around, but it's just really, I find it really, really cool.
No, that's wonderful, and I know that has happened in the past 5 years. It's just not coming to mind. It used to happen all the time, of course.
Yeah.
But it hasn't for a while.
And what I found was, like, when I go onto like a Spotify and you're listening to a certain artist, and then you go down and you look at like recommendations, but then they also have what they call like the artist radio, so to speak. There's all kinds of artists that are kind of similar, or what artists that they have liked as an artist. And there are bands there that you click on and it's like, I have no idea who this is. And you listen to it, you're like, holy cow, who is this?
That has actually happened to me a few times in the last couple of years. But again, I don't remember right now who they were. But I found IPO bands that way, actually.
I'll tell you what, the Delays, I don't think they're a band anymore because the lead singer, songwriter died of cancer. But man, Never heard of them, but I recommend everybody checking it out. Go check out the Lays. There's a recommendation. That's my recommendation for today. Besides Muskrat Love, which is.
I have a couple of reissue pieces of vinyl here that I want to talk about. One is by the really cool Dutch beat band, The Motions. This, I believe, is their third album called Impressions of Wonderful. I knew the band fairly well, but I wasn't aware that this album even existed until it came out on CD a few years ago. And now Music on Vinyl, a great label.
Oh, yeah. I love that.
Especially with Dutch reissues. They did a really beautiful gatefold reissue of this album, Impressions of Wonderful. If you like 60s beat music, and this is a little later 60s, so there are a few psychedelic flourishes in here. But if you like this kind of music, you should definitely check out The Motions. Their first album, Introducing, is known as a beat classic. And actually, I don't think Music on Vinyl ever did a reissue of that one. There have been reissues, but not of that. But they have done they did their second album last year, and then this one just a couple of months ago. So this is something to definitely check out. Okay, so there's that. Then we have two people who would eventually become members of the awesome band 10cc, Godley and Cream. This is called Fly Away, the Frab Joy and Runcible Spoon Sessions, 1968 and 69. This was a godsend when it came out on CD last year.
That could be...
It's actually my dad, so let me
calling from the other room.
Hi, Dad. Yes.
Well, anyhow, as I said, I discovered delays, so I was really happy to hear that. I know David talked in previous episodes about the Haircut 100 Pelican West 40th anniversary box release. I don't know whether David had it on CD or vinyl, but I just got the 4 LP vinyl set in.
Of what?
The Pelican West 40th anniversary.
Oh yeah.
I just got the vinyl, the four album vinyl autographed.
That's great. Yeah, Nick Hayward was going to play IPO at one time, but he had some visa issues and got stuck in the UK.
I told him he should be using American Express, a darn Visa card.
Anyway, these were, except for one song, these were songs that I had never heard before.
Wow.
A couple of early versions of Hot Legs tracks, which was the band that Godley and Cream had before 10cc. This stuff's even before that. Kevin got Fly Away was one song that was on the Hot Legs album, Think School Stinks. And it was kind of a rootsy version, but Kevin Godley did a solo version of that song a year earlier, which was on a compilation, with a yellow cover called Rare Tracks. It had a bunch of obscure UK tracks, and that song is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And that version is on here, and there's another version of this one's called To Fly Away, and it's another version of it, and just a whole bunch of very cool late 60s quirky pops. I mean, they have that Godley and Cream signature quirkiness to them, but with more of a late 60s feel. This is how the album was imagined to be. There was a talk that an album would be released at the time. So this LP version is kind of the way it was gonna be. Had it come out with maybe a bonus track or two. It's on Gerson Records, which is a Spanish label that does amazing reissues.
Wow.
And I would highly if you're a 60s fan and you don't have this, you're really missing out. You could buy the CD version, which has more tracks. But if you're a vinyl person, then get this. You know, I can't speak more highly of this. It's great.
Very cool.
And then, of course, this isn't a reissue, but it's finally the vinyl version of the latest Starry-Eyed and Laughing album, Bells of Lightning. Of course, we had Tony Poole on the show last year.
Yep.
Really great guest. I remember when that show ended. It was my favorite. It was probably my favorite one that we had done.
Yeah.
It's still way up there, but yeah, Bells of Lightning shows that Mr. Poole and company still have it. Very Birdsish, and of course, Bells of Lightning being a takeoff on Bells of Rimney, and then the first song is "Set Me Free from This Lost Highway." So again, another, and then "I See My Rider" is the next song. The Girl in the Gene Clark song, all kinds of titles that harken back to Byrds titles. And of course, the album's very Byrdsy, and it's really, really good.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have it.
Yeah. I have, well, yeah, the
You have the CD version, right?
CD.
Yeah.
I don't have the vinyl. Yeah.
Well, if you're a vinyl person, this just came out not too long ago. I finally got it from Tony sent it to me,
Nice.
and yeah, definitely for any Birds fan, definitely worth your while. And then here's one, of course, that I spoke about on Facebook a few days ago. This double LP set of the classic power pop album by the Toms, who in reality is a nom de plume of Tom Moralda. He was definitely one man power pop wrecking crew. And I'll never forget reading about this album in a Goldmine ad. A store called, well, it was a mail order company called Disques du Monde in Manhattan. It wasn't a store, but you could call and ask to come by, and they usually let you. So as soon as I saw this ad, I called them and said, can I come down and pick this up? And they said, yeah, sure. So I drove from New City, Rockland County, New York. Took about 90 minutes to get there, even though I only lived about 20 miles away.
Right.
And brought it home. And while I didn't, the ad said they sounded like Badfinger and Shoes. And while it doesn't really sound like either of them, it's certainly in that power pop ballpark. So I was blown away. And my friend Jeff Harris and I called Tom. We got his number from information, called him up, and he was gracious. He stayed on the phone with us for 45 minutes and answered all our questions. That's the first time I'd ever done anything like that.
Wow.
And I'm glad it was a good experience instead of the guy saying, like, how'd you get my number? Leave me alone.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Now a reissue of Housley. Yeah, that would be wonderful. It needs to have an LP version. So this is a 2 LP set with all kinds of bonus tracks. This was originally re-released on CD by Not Lame.
Right.
And, this is by a label called Feel It Records, and of course, Feel It. Well, that can be taken in many ways, but I can tell you this is a great album that if you're a power pop fan and you don't own this on CD or this LP version, you really should. Liner notes by the great John Borak, by the way.
We've heard of him. Yeah, John.
Yeah, we've heard of him. I haven't opened this yet, so I haven't read his liners, but I'll take it on faith that they're really well written and informative. But this is the classic album.
You got to be impressed with a lot of these labels, some of them bigger, but a lot of them smaller that you haven't heard of that are putting out these reissues of great vinyl. I mean, really good packaging. Hopefully the mastering is good. It sounds good, but it's great that it's being done, period.
Off the top of your head, can you think of any albums that have not been released on vinyl that you'd love to see reissued? I mean, there's been so many that have come out lately that.
Yes. I just had something in my head. Hold on. I've got, it's not reissued on vinyl. I have the original vinyl. There are albums that I would like to see actually remastered and released on CD, but if they did a deluxe vinyl package, would be great. But Hilly Michaels.
Yeah.
All 3 of his albums. I would love to see. Actually, I would love to see those remastered to CD with bonus tracks and things. But but what?
Well, I mean, the Wounded Bird would be a great candidate to do the Hilly Michaels album because they tend to do a lot of stuff from around 1980-ish. So,
Mhm.
I mean, they actually reissued the Searchers albums, one of which I just spoke about, Love's Melodies.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Wow.
Uh,
But that
along
one
with
just
David
popped into my
Sire.
head right there. Hilly Michael stuff. Yeah, I never really thought about that before. But what would I like to see?
There's all kinds of 60s pop albums that still haven't come
Tons.
out on
Gotta be
CD.
tons.
One of which that has come out on CD, but I'd like to see a better reissue of, is the Cowsills We Can Fly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Collector's Choice did a version of it, and the phasing was off. Baby, your phasing is bad, to quote Caleb Quay. And it was. And plus, Collector's Choice always did stuff on the cheap. I mean, no disrespect intended. They reissued a lot of things that never would have been otherwise. But I know, obviously, Steve Stanley and Now Sounds, who have done Cowsills reissues. I'm not entirely sure why Steve hasn't done this one. I'm sure he has a very good reason, because I'm sure he, like me, was a bit dismayed. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. No,
Uh,
I mean, I think the Cowsills that would be a great candidate for a box of
that's
all.
true. It really would. I wonder if there's there's a rights issue between the MGM stuff and the London stuff. But yeah, the Cowsills would be a really good box. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a lot of people will always say, "Well, everything's been reissued now." Not far from it,
far from it. Yeah,
especially when it comes to vinyl.
yeah,
One thing I would love to see a vinyl box set of are the Hollies albums in mono, actually in stereo for that matter.
yeah.
Those '60s Hollies albums, some of which are great, have never been part of a box set. So it would be that would be a really nice, and I think it would sell.
Yeah.
Um, but maybe one day. Um,
I
speaking
feel
of box sets, I was going to.
one quick second before I failed to put this up because there was a lot of work put into this post. I want to Muskrat love to love you, baby. I need your love and you ain't easy. Hard to be humble.
That's great.
That's a lot of work, and I had
John
to.
Borak must have done that because.
Oh, there we go. Perfect. The rain, the box, and other things.
Yeah, there you go. That they could call it that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The band Roxette really missed their chance when they did their box, because I before it came out, I said they ought to do a box and call it Box Set.
Box set. Yeah.
Boxette. But they called it some. They named it after one of their songs. But that would have been amazing.
That would have been amazing. Yeah. No, it's
I once did name something. Not. I mean, I just named it in my head, and then it came to reality later. I remember in the '70s, in '77, I was talking to my college friend Keith. I said they ought to do a Paul McCartney bootleg, or I couldn't call it Cold Cuts. And sure enough, maybe it was Keith that put it out. I don't know, but about 9 years later, it showed up. I mean, that could be something that anyone could have named a bootleg.
Yeah.
About any artist, Cold Cuts, but somehow I thought McCartney should do it, and lo and behold.
Yeah, there's so many artists that you'd love to see really nice box sets. Just be a lot of them. Yeah, really well done box sets, collector's edition type things. Just tons.
And again, vinyl. With all the vinyl reissue box sets, many of which I have behind me here, there's always room for more.
Yeah.
And eventually they'll. And it's a no-brainer for labels to do these, because if they have the rights to the music, it doesn't cost that much. I mean, there's always labor costs and material costs, so it's not cheap, but they can charge 2 or 3 times what it costs, and
sure,
they'll sell enough easily to recover the money. So there is an Archie's box set, by the way.
What would you call an Archie's box set?
Well, obviously they would want to name it Sugar, and
yeah,
that would probably work okay. Hot Dog? I don't know. There is an Archie's box, and now I am actually going to get that.
You could have one side of the box set with Veronica as the prime as the prime focal point, and the other side would be Betty, and you'd have to argue over which side was the better one.
Well, Betty and Veronica, of course, are the ginger of Marianne of animation, and Betty being the Marianne. I would certainly take Betty over Veronica. Veronica's way too spoiled.
Yeah, Veronica had
way
too much
high maintenance.
Yeah, high maintenance and attitude. Betty was
a girl next door.
Girl next door, or the one you'd see rolling around in the haystacks on the farm.
I know Reggie definitely tried to tap that, but he didn't get anywhere. Anyway, here's the box.
Oh, there you go.
Sugar, the complete albums collection. Very cool that this was done. The Pretty Things box. Yeah, I have it, but let's see what the name of it is, because I don't remember either. But it's right here. Bouquet from a Cloudy Sky.
Oh, okay.
And then there was a whole box done on SF Sorrow, which is wonderful. So yeah. Anyway, the only problem with this is it's mastered from vinyl. So the sound isn't as great as one might hope, but hey, they're on CD. It's the best we're gonna get, probably. What's the label? Golden Lane Records, a division of Cleopatra. So it's legit, but
yeah,
again, only from vinyl. Who knows where the tapes are, if indeed they even exist.
I've got the Rhino box of Carl Reiner and Mel Brooks, the complete 2,000-year-old man.
Yeah. What made you pull that one out?
It was right up here. And I said, I can reach it. That's why I pulled it out. I don't know why.
That's what she said.
And what else? Well, this was relatively new that I got, but it's not brand new. But there's the 999 album box of 77 through 80. Is that
on Lemon also?
This is on Captain. Captain Oi.
Yeah. Another cherry red subsidiary.
Yeah. It's got the first album. It's got Separate's the biggest prize in sport and a whole disc of rarities. Of course, a huge 999 fan.
You put together that show at the Man Cave, right?
Yeah. At the Man Cave. 999. Yeah. Takes me back. Great stuff.
God, it's still bugging me that I can't find the new music box. Oh my God.
I have it here somewhere. I just don't have I don't know exactly where. Like, unlike you, you're so good at going directly where you need to find something.
Yeah, except for the new music.
Except for the new music box.
I can't find. Where is it? I see New Seekers, but that's not going to help. Anyhow, want to play Stump the Bash?
Yeah, it's a good time to stump the bash. I'm just checking something real quick here.
I'm going to keep looking because this is just. It has to be in here somewhere.
Yeah, you got me thinking. Otherwise, well,
unless I didn't know, there's no way in the world I didn't get it.
Nah, I must have it out in my other section because I'm looking at Martin Newell and everything Martin Newell ever did, and new music should be close to that, and it's not. So it must be out in the other room. But that's all right. We have another.
That's crazy.
We have a Stump the Bash. David wasn't feeling up to it last week, and
not really feeling up to it today. I'm just really sleepy, but I'll do it anyway because I promised.
Yeah, this is going to be chart position 150.
Yeah, right. Yeah, even I'll at least have heard of most of the songs.
Yeah, indeed. There was rumored to be an Idol Race 5 CD set.
There was, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that's ever going to come out. There's an Idol Race Facebook page, but the last time I looked, there hadn't been any talk about it. So I don't know.
Well, with that, it is time to
Stump the Bash. Stump the Bash. Stump the Bash. Stump the Bash.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to Stump the Bash. When was the last time we stumped you, Mr. Bash?
Oh, probably in January when we.
Yeah, if we ask you where your new music box set is, we've stumped you.
Yeah.
Well, last time we did it, we had chart position number 92 in deference to David's 92-year-old dad's birthday. But today we are going to lighten it up a little bit, and we're going to chart position number 30.
I was going to say, I wonder if you were going to do the inverse, 29. But
No, I thought about it.
Close enough.
Just went for 30. And if you've not seen Stump the Bash before, it's pretty simple. It's 1965 to 1975. That's an 11-year period. David picks 5 of those years. And we take chart position number 30, and he gets clues. If he gets the song and the artist in the first clue, he gets 5 points, all the way down to the 5th clue is 1 point, or 0 if he doesn't get it at all. And he has to get 15 points out of the 5 years that he picks in order to not to be stumped, which is 3 points.
I need some nourishment. Hold on a second.
He needs a little nourishment.
I'm not eating much in the last couple of days. So.
He's only had ketchup potato chips today for Passover, and but it's all good. We have a lot of fun playing Stump the Bash. We do have I talked about episode number 100 is coming up. Where's my banner? This show tonight is episode number 98, which to me is kind of mind-boggling that we've done 98 shows now. If you think about it, it makes me go, "Are you kidding me?" Hard to believe, but
it is.
We got episode 100 coming up.
The spirit of Passover, chocolate-covered matzah.
Chocolate-covered matzahs. There we go. My neighbors across the street just gave me a whole box of just plain matzahs because somebody gave them a case of them.
Oh, wow.
How do you go through a case of matzahs in your lifetime?
Mammy's little baby loves matzah.
But we are, we're at chart position number 30 tonight. Some of these are not too difficult. Some are we're a little difficult to get decent clues. So it all evens out in the end. David's going to give us his first year as soon as he chomps that matzah, and we're going to start stumping the bash.
Do you have the years I chose last week? Because I'm going to choose all different years.
Do I or don't I? I do not have it in front of me, I don't think. No, I don't know where I put it. So you're just going to have to wing it and fly by night and just pick something you love.
Well, I think wait a minute. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's start with 1974.
All right. 1974 chart position number 30 in order to stump the bash. Let's see if he goes right out of the gates. Here is the first clue. This is an up-tempo disco dance number that saw heavy rotation in dance clubs, released as a single from the album of the same name.
Well, there wasn't much disco yet in 1974.
Yeah, it's true.
And there are 2 potential candidates, both of which I believe come from albums of the same name. So it could end up being neither of those, but we're talking about number 30. Both of these were huge hits that year.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling if I'm wrong on this one, I'm going to be right on the next clue, but maybe not. Anyway, well, I'll just start my guess with "Rock Your Baby" by George McRae.
No.
Ah. Okay.
That's a good guess, though. That was a great guess. All right. Clue number 2 for 4 points. This was actually released in December of 1973 on the Tamla label with the B-side, "Can't Help What I Am."
Tamla, huh?
Yeah.
Well, it's not. Then the other choice I had is not the right answer.
This was a tough one for clues, so you're not going to get a whole lot of great help.
Well, obviously the great Stevie Wonder was on Tamla. But you said it was released in December '73 as a single.
Yeah, it was released December 1973 as a single, but charted and ended number 30 for 1974.
Well, the only song by Stevie Wonder I can think of that was released as a single that late, at least I think was that late. Maybe it was released earlier and then peaked in would certainly not be a disco song, but maybe I'm wrong. You Haven't Done Nothing by Stevie Wonder?
It is not. It is
Okay.
not. All right. Clue number 3 for 3 points. This became this artist's second consecutive single to top the Billboard R&B singles chart, holding the number 1 position for 3 weeks. It just missed becoming his second straight number 1 on the Billboard pop singles chart, peaking at number 2 for 2 straight weeks behind Seasons in the Sun by Terry Jacks. So it was right there.
Who else is on Tomlin? Because why am I forgetting who else was on Tomlin? And it hasn't been established that the artist is a single person, right?
It has not. But I did say becomes this artist's second consecutive single artist.
Yeah, why am I forgetting who else is on Tomlin? Because I don't think it's sort of Stevie.
This is a difficult one out of the gates. This
couldn't be at number 30. I'm just again. My brain right now is such that if I don't know it right away and I have to actually think about it, I'm not going to be able to recall things.
Wait till the chocolate matzahs kick in.
I know. I didn't have any lunch today, so I needed. I need something here, but this is embarrassing. It's a pretty rare album, Tim. Let's see. Who else was on Tomlin? Obviously, I'm just completely forgetting.
Yeah, it's a little difficult one.
Shouldn't be. Number 30 for the year. Should not be. It's just I'm embarrassing myself here. Yeah, I can't think of who it is.
All right, we're going to go clue number 4 for 2 points. The song was co-written by Leonard Caston Jr., Anita Poré, and Frank Wilson, the same songwriting team that had composed "Keep on Truckin'."
Oh well, then maybe Eddie Kendricks was on. So what the hell? Yeah, so I'm trying to think. I think the song I'm thinking of is it "Boogie Down" by Eddie Kendricks?
For 2 points, it's "Boogie Down" by Eddie Kendricks.
I forgot he was on Tomlin, but at least I got 2 points.
You got 2 points. You know, it was a tough one right out of the gate. I think
it is. I'd forgotten he was on that subsidiary.
But
I would have guessed he would be on Gordy, like the Temptations, but I guess
I thought the "Keep on Truckin' clue would automatically send you to Eddie Kendricks, and then,
I know Jungle Boogie. No, that's Cool in the Gang anyway. So that would have been very embarrassing if I said.
All right, you got 2 points. You can bounce right back. You'll be right out of the gates with a 5-pointer, and then you're breathing easy. What are we going to next?
We'll go to 1968.
1968 chart position number 30. Here we go. A song credited to Gene Raskin, who put a new English lyric to the Russian romance song "By the Long Road," composed by Boris Fomin, with words by the poet Konstantin Pedrevsky.
Read that clue again.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good clue. It's a song credited to Gene Raskin, who put a new English lyric to the Russian romance song titled By the Long Road, composed by Boris Fomin, with the words by the poet Konstantin Pedrevsky. So this is an English lyric adaptation of a Russian
Right.
song, By the Long Road.
Nope. Haven't a clue.
Clue number 2 for 4 points. This was released in August of 1968 on the Apple label with the B-side Turn, Turn, Turn.
Oh, okay. Now I'm pretty sure I know it now because this one I always thought was kind of Russian sounding. Those Were the Days by Mary Hopkin.
There's the 4 points you needed to come back with your average. Those Were the Days. Mary Hopkins. The third clue would have said dealt with reminiscence upon youth and romantic idealism. It also deals with tavern activities, which include drinking, singing, and dancing.
The tavern would have given it.
Once upon a time, there was a tavern. Love that song. Great song. Those are the days. All right. Well, you're right back to your 3-point average. You're at 6 points after 2. Where are we going now?
Well, we'll be back to the 70s now.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember which year we chose I chose last time. All right, we'll go with 1975.
1975, the last year that you're able to choose from. This clue number 1 for 5 points, released in February of 1975 on the A&M label with the B-side Better Days. This track reached number 3 in the U.S. Billboard charts.
That's all I got, huh?
Yes. B-side was Better Days on the A&M label in February of 75, and it did hit number 3.
Number 3.
Yeah, as high as number 3.
74 or 75. The one
75.
Trying to remember. I'm not sure if this was that big a hit, but Please Mr. Postman by the Carpenters?
No, it is not. All right, question number 2 for 4 points. This was written by Steve Cash and Larry Lee, and it was inspired by a male drug dealer and a bartender that they once knew.
Damn. Excuse me.
Interesting. Male
trying to think of
gender.
Naturally, I'm trying to think of A&M hits. A&M artists, of course, they're not coming to mind. Well, one is, and I think that artist wrote their own songs. Oh, actually, they did do a cover, but I don't think it's them. Oh, well, no. This song wouldn't seem to be about. Oh. See, I'm thinking of 2 A&M songs right now, neither of which seem to have anything to do with a drug dealer or one's a cover that was a pretty big hit by a duo in the early 60s. And the other is not a cover, but I don't know who wrote it. But I think this wouldn't seem like it would be about that. But Jackie Blue by the Ozark Mountain Daredevils.
I don't know how you did it, but you got 4 points on that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, I think I remember Larry Lee. I think he may be a member of Ozark Mountain Daredevils.
Jackie Blue, Ozark Mountain Daredevils.
What does that have to do with a drug dealer? Or
Well, hold on. See, it was inspired by a drug dealer and bartender, but the next clue would have told you that producer Glenn Johns protested, no, mate, the character has to be a girl. Johns that then had Lee and fellow band member Steve Cash step out to regender the lyrics. We started over with new lyrics, switched them around, and wrote a couple of verses. We knocked out some new lyrics in about 30 minutes, and it turned the drugged out guy into a reclusive girl.
Okay.
And that was Jackie.
That might be the longest clue. That
was the longest clue, but that was Jackie Blue by the Ozark Mountain Daredevils. 4 points. You are now at 10 of your 15.
Had it been called Vida Blue before that?
Yeah. Inspired by a left-handed pitcher for the Oakland A's.
I saw him in a recent interview about the teams. He's great.
Nice.
Let's see. All right, now we go back into the 60s. Well, I chose the last year. Now we're going to go with the first year, 1965.
Oh, 1965. Right out of the gates. Here we go. Question number 1 for 5 points. And Stump the Bash, he only needs 5 more points total in 2 questions. This is a 1964 song written by Wes Farrell and Burt Burns. This version reached number 1 on the U.S. Billboard charts in 1965.
Oh, I should know this because I know that songwriting team.
Yeah.
But why isn't it coming to me? Well, I don't know that this song was number 1.
The tension is palpable.
Yeah, it really is. No, I'm not going to get it right just from there.
All right. Clue number 2 for 4 points. This was released on the Bang label.
Yeah, of course.
The B-side, I Can't Explain It.
And reached number 1 on Billboard?
Reached number 1 on the U.S.
Yeah, this is something I'm going to hit myself.
The Bang label.
When I don't know it, because oh, wait. Was this on Bang? Is it Hang On Sloopy by the McCoys?
That is 4 points. Hang On Sloopy by the McCoys.
Okay.
Number 3 would have given it to you. It was standard fare for garage bands, and in 1965 became one of the first songs recorded by the Yardbirds with guitarist Jeff Beck. So Hang On Sloopy.
Wasn't the Yardbirds version, didn't that have a different name? Like not Hang On, but something?
Yeah, it was I had it here somewhere. I even made a note. It was not Hang On Sloopy. What was it? Somebody tell us. My Girl Sloopy.
My Girl Sloopy, yeah.
My Girl Sloopy, yeah.
Okay.
Well, you're at 14 points. All you got to do is get 1 point.
Why the hell aren't there a bunch more? Why aren't there a bunch of mid-50s women, year-old women? Thank you, John. Why aren't there a bunch of mid-50-year-old women named Sloopy these days?
There are very few. I think
where are the Sloopy Joneses of the world? It's ridiculous. The song was number 1. Come on.
And I
don't even remember girls having that nickname.
If you go on YouTube and you look at the McCoys, there's a YouTube video of the McCoys doing Hang On Sloopy, and the hippie girl dancing in front of the stage is just one of the sexiest women you'll see in an old black and white film.
Really?
It's fantastic. Yeah.
I have to check that out.
That.
Maybe it's our good friend Elaine Bender.
Could be. All right, final year. All you need is 1 point, and we do
Candy Chase.
Candy Chase, it might have been.
Yeah. All right. So, well, I didn't pick this year last time, so I guess I'll choose it now. Right in the middle, 1970, my favorite year for top 40.
Oh, it's a good one. I mean, you'll probably get it, but I like this.
So.
I like this one. Here we go. For 5 points, he only needs 1 not to be stumped. This was a popular single by an American rock band. It was written by Jerry Corbetta, J.C. Phillips, and David Reardon, and was featured on the band's debut album and was their first single.
Well, if I have the right if I have the right song, I wouldn't have thought it would have been that big. It certainly wasn't quite that big on WABC. But I'll just have to go with Green Eyed Lady by Sugarloaf.
I thought you'd get it. 5 points. We did not stump the bash. That's a total of 17 points. After starting off slow, he came back with 4, 4, 4, and 5.
19, don't you?
No, 19. Yeah, 19. What did I say? 17, 19 points. He finished up 4, 4, 4, and 5. Wasn't even close. Wasn't even a contest. We did not stump the bash on episode. Thanks to the chocolate monsters.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Yehuda Matzahs, for waking up a few neurons, because
here on episode number 98. And I was just mentioning when you were running off to get the matzahs, hard to believe that this is episode number 98.
It really is. And I'm thank you. And I'm hoping that for episode 100 we have a pretty special guest. I'm trying to get a hold of this person. He'd be pretty cool in the annals of what became power pop. Certainly the band that this band became had what a lot of people think is the first power pop song.
Yeah.
But the original incarnation of the band released one very, very sought after collector's album.
Yeah.
Now, I actually once owned an original, but got rid of it when I needed money and when a really cool reissue had come out. So I didn't need it anymore. I'd really love to have one again. But we're hoping to get this gentleman. He was only in the original incarnation of the band, not in the later version that had a bunch of big hits. So if I can get a hold of him, and hopefully he'll do it. If not, we'll come up with something cool. I mean, maybe we should have a bunch of our previous guests playing your other game.
Yeah, we've got Who Charted. We might debut that on our 100th episode.
We really should.
A little quiz game, where we're going to talk a clue and have a little 1-second sound clip and see who can get that. So
if our friends John Borak and John Kirby are available, we could certainly get them on, and
be a lot of fun.
They've certainly been guests. Maybe we'll get Lisa Michaels on.
Yeah, and we'll reminisce a little bit on the first 99 episodes, and we'll have some fun. I think it's all.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we can just contact some of the people who've been on. And how many? What do you think the limit should be for this game?
Well, as many as I can look at on the screen as I'm doing it. So, like, if there's 5 people playing, 6 people playing, I can see everybody just kind of go, and I'll go, it was you. And,
okay, so basically, you just whoever raises their hand first.
Yeah,
okay.
I'll make sure everybody kind of goes like that, And
Fair
I can see John Kirby said he's up. All right, Kirby's in.
I don't want to know about you being up. I really don't want to hear about that stuff.
But so we got a great show next week. We got a guest on next week. We've had a couple weeks here where David and I have just been waxing poetic or waxing parts of ourselves we don't want to talk about. But next week, episode number 99, we've got Deborah Ayal. She was the lead singer of early 80s dance pop band that used saxophone in a lot of great ways. Romeo Void. They had a big hit with Never Say Never, and then their top 20 hit, A Girl in Trouble Is a Temporary Thing.
Amazing video.
Great video, great song. It plays Stump the Curbs, yeah. So we got Deborah Ayal coming up next week. Really looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then we have episode number 100 after that. We got a lot of irons in the fire, but we do have May 3rd is booked. That's going to be a gentleman named Kevin Hefner, and he is the owner, CEO of Historic Autographs Company. And it's a company that does these limited baseball card things, and they get the autographed jerseys, but they don't just do baseball, they do all kinds of different genres. And one of their latest releases has been actual certified locks of hair from historic figures. They've had like a Lindbergh card, a Hamilton card, a Lincoln card in these historical, these boxes you could buy with the wax packs, as they call them, I guess. But it's interesting as to how they come upon these autographs and how they actually make these cards. And
I don't think you want to come upon autographs.
Yeah.
That'll kind of diminish their value.
A little bit, depends on who it is, but
Stormy Daniels. Oh, big shout out to Stormy. Thank you for becoming a true American hero.
Big shout out to Stormy. But yeah, Kevin Hefner of Historic Autographs will be on. It's going to be neat to talk about the collectible market and how they do what they do with these cards as we are collectors. It's a neat thing. So those are two people we've got booked in the next few weeks. So great. Hope you guys.
Those will both be very much fun. And again,
I never know how to spell Mir.
No, it's MYHR.
Okay. You had it right.
Oh, should we get him as it doesn't? Not sure what that means. Is that one of his song titles? Because I don't recall. I don't know what you're getting at there, John.
We'll get it something.
No, yeah, well.
You're
barking up the wrong tree with that one, John. That's not going to happen on this show.
But I hope everybody comes back next week for Deborah Ayal. It's going to be great. I can't wait. And
that will be very cool. I look forward to meeting her and
indeed
asking questions and all that good stuff. But that morning, I'll be going into the dentist to have my. Oh, okay. Something. I'll be going into the dentist to have my sample dentures to see how they fit, and if they fit well, we'll go with the exact replica of that will be the actual denture. And I'm not sure if I'll be doing this when I get back from Chicago or when I get back from Europe, but it's going to be a long process of healing. So it may make sense for me to wait till after Europe, because I'll be home for over 2 months and I won't have an IPO for almost 2 months at that point. So it probably would make sense, but yeah, at least nice.
Oh, Andy's in Italy. Nice. Or will be.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Oh, that's true. Okay. How long it? Oh, Andy, by the way, my horse slips box should be coming tomorrow. Andy's a huge fan of Horse Lips, the Irish prog rock pop band that had several really cool albums in the 70s. And this box was going to have like 36 CDs of those albums, plus unreleased material, plus tons of live shows. And it's it's the label Madfish / Snapper that did those amazing boxes of Gentle Giant and Al Stewart and Caravan and also Nirvana, the 60s group. When they go to town when they do their, I mean, they give Bear Family a run for their money.
And coincidentally, Horselips was the nickname of a high school girlfriend I had. And they also called her Madfish and Snapper, and they said she did go to town. So
what happens sometimes when you touch? It's not the same.
It's not the same one.
I would hope not.
Yeah, Snapper. It's a fishy sounding label, but
I wonder who said that.
We're having a good time. We're
definitely having a good time, but my dad needs a little bit of tender, loving care, so I'm going to go help him out.
Yes, cheers.
Which is, I mean, I would love to talk a lot longer, but I should probably get. He's 92. He needs my help. So,
indeed.
You. I mean, obviously, you're very familiar with the situation.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they were brilliant. Yeah, well, I'm sure they were brilliant. I can't, that's the one thing again about, especially those prog bands, they could all play, and they were all, even though the music sometimes was sort of math rock and seemed to be all over the place, there was always a method to it, and these bands were tight as hell, and live they showed that.
And speaking of live, David, this just popped into my head because we've talked about, you and I have talked about this. If we could have the magic power of going back in time, where you could just watch anything. You couldn't interact. You couldn't change time, but you could be there as if you were standing there. What 60s artist would you want to go and just be standing to watch live?
Well, I don't know about watch live, but I've always had this weird fantasy.
It's a live concert.
I've always had this weird fantasy about being in the recording sessions. That's good. I always had this weird fantasy about attending the Beach Boys Wild Honey sessions. I'm not sure why. I guess maybe because after the tumult of Smile, they would have been very laid back, and it was Wild Honey was just so different than anything else they had done.
Yeah.
And I just think the sessions would have been very chill. Oh, the band, yeah, there you go. Sessions would have been very, very chill, and it would have been cool maybe to go get a burger with them afterwards or something. Yeah, just hang out with the guys. But for some reason, it's like most people would say Pet Sounds or Smile. I would say Wild Honey. But as far as like who would I want to see live?
Yeah,
Julius. Yes, Brother Julius with the pail. To put the fire out or to start the fire. We didn't start the fire. No, but he did. Let me see. Well, I mean, obviously I'd want to be at a Beatles concert, but that's everybody's number one.
Yeah.
Andy Hartley's, but let me think.
Would you choose the Beatles at Shea Stadium, or would you choose their first like Washington D.C. concert?
Absolutely, Washington D.C.
I think so too. Yeah.
I mean, I have a feeling we'd be able to hear them a little bit better, maybe, because no one could hear a damn thing at Shea, including them.
I would have loved to
have been problem in D.C.
To take it back to the 50s. I would have loved to have been at the Surf Ballroom for Buddy Holly's last performance. To stand in the wings there and watch that would have been surreal.
No, of course, that's another Twilight Zone moment. Going back, like the show. No, that's a great one. Yeah. Like the show back there, the episode of the Twilight Zone back there, when Russell Johnson of Gilligan's Island fame plays the guy who goes back in time to try and prevent Lincoln from being shot.
Yeah, and
of course he can't do it because Lincoln was shot after all. And then the kicker is when he gets back to the present time, which is 1961 at the time. The people he's part of a rich guy's club, and the people in there now have different roles because by trying to prevent Lincoln from being killed, he delayed it slightly, and it caused a guy to get the message out, and he became such a hero for trying to stop Lincoln from being shot that his ancestors, his progeny, became very rich. So the guy who had been the butler in the club was now an inherited millionaire.
Yeah,
and the lesson was that, well, you can change some things, but you can't change others. And it's like my response was, and why is it that physics would choose not to change Lincoln's death? I mean, like physics doesn't know that was a significant thing in our history, but whatever. But yeah, wouldn't you love to try and go back in time to that show and warn those guys, don't get on that plane? I think. Well, I mean, but as we talked about, one of the comedy shows did a skit where where the Big Bopper, I think, has some idea that it's going to crash, and he says, "I don't want to get on that plane." But yeah, what were you going to say?
No, what I was saying is, we talked about this. Is like you could go back, but you couldn't interact. You couldn't change anything, but you could watch something as it happened. And you feel like you're actually there. You could smell everything. You're there, but you can't interact. But you could just see it as it happened because you imagine history as having been recorded on a giant laser disc somewhere in the heavens. But you can go back and watch it exactly as it happened, and that's kind of what I was.
The only reason that for that particular show would be cool for me is that apparently, Waylon Jennings was supposed to be on that flight, and he ended up giving up his seat to, I think it was the Big Bopper. And I think the Big Bopper made some remark about Jennings being too much of a pussy to fly, and Jennings said, I hope your plane crashes.
Plane crashes, yeah.
I mean, what a thing. First of all, he has to live with the fact that he wasn't on the plane. Then he has to live with the fact that he said that.
Yeah.
I mean, that must have been tough.
Did you
no
see
wonder he's
that?
such a drinker, because
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see that film 11/22/63, or that series, that limited series about going back to try to prevent the JFK assassination?
I haven't yet.
Yeah, no, it's really good. And Stephen King, I enjoyed it. And Stephen King ends up the whole thing. He wrote this little poem called "We Did Not Ask for This Room," and I just absolutely love it. It's a small poem, and it ends up saying, "We did not ask for this room or this music, but because we are here, let us dance." And it's kind of a thing that stuck with me. But if you want to go back and look at a film that actually deals with somebody who could go back through a portal, and he knows that this JFK assassination is coming up, and he's going to do everything he can to try to stop it, but time is trying to prevent him from doing it. You know?
Yeah, no, that I love. I love the concept of that.
It's a cool concept, so I would recommend that. They turned it into a little limited run series. It was very good. It's called 11/22/63. Yeah, 11/22/63.
Here was another. I think it was called. Was it called No Time Like the Past? I'm trying to remember. I think that may have been the title of this particular Twilight Zone episode, where Dana Andrews plays a character who is able to go back in time, and he's actually kind of like the way Kennedy was assassinated. Speaking of which, he's in a hotel room, and he's got a long-range rifle, and he's got Hitler in his scope, and he wants to assassinate him, and suddenly he just doesn't pull the trigger. It was a practice run, and then guys find out he's there, and he loses his chance. I mean, it's ridiculous. He had him right in his sights, but the whole idea of you can't change significant things.
Yeah.
Anyway, I better go attend to my dad.
All right. John saw the Beatles in '63. I knew.
Well, John has I'm jealous of all the things he's
I know.
seen.
I'd be jealous of John. But you know what?
Some of the women he's probably seen.
I know. He's not going to be able to. He's not going to be able to beat the Bash in Who Charted. So
probably not. I mean, but you never know.
All right, my friends.
If you use the UK, maybe do one segment with UK charts. He might beat me there.
Might be that, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see everybody next Wednesday. It's only 6 days away for Material Issues episode number 99 with Deborah Ayal of Romeo Void. David,
Awesome.
say hi to your dad for me.
Thank you.
We wish him well, and everybody have a wonderful, wonderful Thursday evening. We'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers. Bye. Have a good one.